Welcome back to another Plasticon review! Woohoo!
Welcome back to yet another Plasticon review! Today we're going to talk about some Bandai, some model building? Yes. Back in 1981 they released a Bandai set of the Voltron Lion Force. It's kind of weird that they didn't really put Voltron on this box though, back when they did this model kit. It seems like almost like a KO or something, but it's not. It's actually an official product, which is really interesting because you don't see Bandai printed anywhere on the box, but the model kit itself, when I was assembling it, on the inside of the black plastic lion was stamped Bandai 1981. This is a really obscure kit, a real hard to find kit, and when I purchased it, it wasn't in the best condition. It literally was missing one piece, which I'll get onto that when I get to the actual review of the toy, but it's really cool. It's got some nice look here of what the lions will look like, and then the combination mode down here at the bottom. Nothing here on the back, and then obviously some cartoon artwork and some cross-sell pictures here, which are kind of interesting. I mean, these cross-sell pictures are kind of neat. I tend to see quite often this one on eBay. Not so much on this one, but it's got some really interesting stuff going on here. I do love this artwork. This artwork is just completely awesome because, you know, it's Voltron. Who doesn't like Voltron? Seriously. So, a little closer look here at the stuff here. And, you know, I don't really review boxes that much, but I mean, this is kind of a gem because it's from 1981. It's very cool. It's very awesome. But anyhow, let's go on to the robots. Starting out with Lion number 2, the red one. It's very tiny. Now, this is a model kit, so that is a bit of a disclaimer. This is not going to be treated like your normal gunpla kits or anything, because this is literally made of that old school model type of material that if you did mishandle it, it would break. And there's a lot of detail. These stickers are the original stickers from the 1981 set. They actually came with the stickers. I was able to get some of them to stick pretty good. There's some that are trying to come off, so I go back and just add a little bit of glue to kind of make them on there. None of this was painted. I had to paint all the silver, all this right here. Nothing was painted on this thing. It literally was sculpted in white and red plastic, so everything on here had to be painted. It does have his articulation here, which he seems to be a little bit loose, and some of that could be my fault, but I mean, the kit fitment is probably not the best. It does have articulated legs, which is pretty unbelievable for a set this size. The tail does move up and down, and it does have a twisting head, which sadly there's no jaw that opens on these, but it's really cool. I do like the way these are, although I think the limbs are probably the weakest part of this entire thing, are the two arms, just because they seem so small compared to the rest of the entire lion set. It's really odd, the proportions on this set, but when it's put together it looks really cool. So to put him into his limb mode, he does the whole crouching lion tiger thingy, as you want to call it, and then these back ones here can kind of just flip backward, and these will fully articulate. It's really interesting on how this all works. And then the tail will just fold up into the back. Now it has this keyed portion here, and this right here is how it actually plugs into the black line. But there we go. We got him in his his limb mode. So let's move on and cover the next one of the line. Next one is Lion number 3, the green lion. I like the sculpting on this guy. It's pretty cool. Obviously all the colors on here were not on there before. He does require a lot of painting if you do happen to try to catch this kit in action out there. It was molded in green and white. There's none of the silver. You actually had to paint all the silver on. There's no moving jaw. It's just like the red line. It's identical. It's really cool. Got a lot of nice sculpting going on there. And I do like this a lot. I just kind of followed a little bit of the box art, and some people ask me, like, are you going to paint the limbs silver? No, because these limbs were so difficult to put together anyway, that if I would have added more paint to it, it probably might have tightened up the joints some. But the joints are so small on this that I would be afraid that it could possibly break it on account of access paint. It would have took a lot longer. So I kind of just veered away from that, which is fine, because, you know, Voltron has been depicted in toys of having white and silver pieces. So I thought it was pretty decent. It looks cool. But let's put him into his limb mode, where he just kind of pushes his little front paws here. And see, that's what I'm talking about right there. Just a little bit of looseness going on. But honestly, this is more or less a display piece. These wouldn't really be played with that much. Although it is kind of depicted to be a bit of a toy. And that's something I noticed on this. This just doesn't go in all the way. And this is put together the correct way. And that's what is kind of funny about it. I don't think they accounted for the clearance issue here. And then the tail would obviously be pushed down. And just a bit of a disclaimer, the tail itself, the tail kind of broke on me when I was trying to do this a long time ago when I was first putting this thing together. But there were some problems with this thing. And you can obviously tell, I mean, this arm's going to have some articulation going on, so it's not bad. But let's move on to the next one. Moving on to Lion 5, the Yellow Lion. You can obviously tell there's a bit of a scale thing here. Well, just to show you exactly, here's the red lion compared to the yellow. It's big. It's ginormous. I kind of find this hilarious because this is supposed to fill in as the leg and foot piece. You would think they all would have been pretty close to the same scale, although I know the other two lions were always a bit smaller, but not that small. I mean, this thing is like 3 times the size of those, which is kind of cool. Getting on to the detail, this was only molded in yellow and white. There was no, well, yellow, white, and red. This portion here is made in red. These are as well, but nothing else. Everything else has to be painted. And it does have its head articulation, which it kind of goes down a little further than it probably should. Jaw does not open. That's a sad opportunity considering the size of the head on this. They could have engineered that. And he's got his tail articulation, and his legs do exactly what the lion bots should do. Like I said, there is a bit of looseness going on here. He does not have any firing missile gimmick, although it would have been kind of cool to see that considering Bandai has been known to build retro robots with spring-loaded gimmicks that were model kits. This is really cool. Put him into his limb mode. It's kind of straightforward, really, with the lion bots that are the legs. It's pretty simple. It's actually not difficult at all, and it's kind of quick. This back one here seems to be a bit tight. There's sometimes these get a little tight on the articulation, and you know, this in here is really kind of scarier here. Considering you got to think these are made of that plastic that every model kit back in the day was made of. And yes, it's very difficult to move this thing. There we go. And there we go. Foot mode. Moving on to the number 4 lion. The blue lion is pretty cool. Obviously, same size as the yellow lion. So another little scale comparison here, because he doesn't like to really stand very well either. These are very, very loose joints, and like I said, if you want to blame me on that, that's fine. But it's just the fact that this is a model kit from the 80s, so you have to be very delicate with it. But it's just so big compared to these. I mean, that lion could literally, like, the front of this lion is literally the size of the head on the blue one. It's just funny how half that lion is like the size of the head. It's weird. Anyway, it's very cool. It's got some pretty decent detail. This is only molded in red, yellow, blue, and white plastic. All the rest of the details you had to add yourself. There was a sticker here that you put on the top, along with the stickers here for like the numbers. But that's all the stickering you get. The rest of it you actually have to paint on yourself, including all this stuff here that's not painted on. That's not part of the molding. That's actually painted on. You have to paint all that, and it's, you know, pretty difficult to actually get in there sometimes with some of the details, especially how small some of these are, especially the little guys. But simple transformation for him. Virtually kind of transforms himself almost with the way this in here particularly lays itself out. I mean, you can, I guess, push these in if you wanted to, like that, versus flip them back. Either way. And then tail goes down just like so. Moving on to last but definitely not the least is the black lion. The black lion is really cool. I like how he looks. To give you a bit of a scale comparison though, he is a bit out of scale here. The blue lion is a tad bit longer than the black lion. The black lion's supposed to be big and massive, and it's crazy because this whole set really feels like they took the toy and just turned it into a model kit. And you probably noticed something that's kind of gummed up here or something weird. I attempted to try to come up with a piece to take place of the piece that was missing, and that's this detailed piece here. This does have articulation, it does move up, but this one here does not, because I actually had to glue it all into place. It does have its veer out, so that way you are able to transform it. Wiggly tail. He does have the opening jaw, because that's obviously Voltron's head in there. And the little ears here, they do move out if you really wanted to. He does have quite a bit of articulation in all of his legs, which is kind of nice, considering, you know, this. That's about as far as these go, because this is the, you know, obviously the other part of the roll-on mode, and this goes all the way back. But he's pretty neat. I do like the detail. He was molded in black and red and white and yellow plastic. All the other details on here are all specifically just painted, and there are some stickers. The main stickers are the big ones here, and here I'm going to go ahead and start converting him over into his torso mode, which he does pretty successfully. Now, this is the part here where you just kind of have to choose your battles here when it comes to moving parts around. It wouldn't be so bad if I didn't have to deal with the one here glued, because then I'd be able to just kind of flip these forward if I felt like it. But it's kind of difficult to do, especially with the problem of one part being completely broken. And it's not really broken, it's just the fact that I didn't have the bits to complete that. And then you move these here down just like so, and flip his tail a little bit. There you go. And all this silver here is picked out, and I picked all that out myself. I was running out of a bit of yellow paint there, so if you guys are going to complain about the way the belt looks, well, it's kind of my own fault. And then obviously you fold the jaw down, and then with this little head portion here forward. And then you'll move the ears out. I'm going to give you a bit of a close-up here on the face, because the face is very difficult in order to paint this, because when I got this right here was already assembled. Some of the feet portions were already assembled in such form as well. And then you got your obvious key in here, and then the legs here will actually just plug directly into the lion. So let's go ahead and form Voltron Force! Voltron completely put together, he actually looks really good. This is a great display piece for somebody that doesn't have a lot of room in their home and just works. It's a very nice piece, and it's got enough detail, and you know, you can pose it a little bit, but the only thing I really think that's missing from this entire Voltron is the blazing sword. It would have been nice if it actually came with a sword to put in hand, but you know, this is kind of the way it is. Any of you guys out there that has Generation 1 Computron, I'm going to do a bit of a size comparison here next to Generation 2 Computron. If you guys want to see a review of that, go back in my archives, I've already done a review of him. But that kind of shows you, you know, the bit of the scale difference here. He is very small. Here he is next to a Spy Changer Optimus Prime. You can obviously tell that the Prime in robot mode is pretty much about the same height as the leg, so that kind of gives you a bit of a scale difference here. And just for giggles, for you guys out there that happen to collect Combiner Wars, Combiner Wars Cyclonus for you. He is about the same height as Cyclonus. I would say, you know, more of a, he's a Voyager size figure when he's completely put together. Trying to find this guy on the aftermarket is very difficult. It's one of those things that a lot of you folks out there probably have never had. And if you do have the desire to put together a Voltron from a model kit, this is not a bad kit. You're just going to have to deal with the fact that there is some fiddliness that goes on. Now, to try to tighten the joints and stuff, I can probably get some floor polish and kind of shove it in there with a toothpick and hope it kind of holds. But to be honest, this is a display piece. This isn't something that you're normally going to play with that much. And it's a really nice piece, to be honest. A lot of the detail and stuff, obviously, that's my own painting. If you really wanted to go more cartoon accurate, you could and paint everything white. Or if you really wanted to go crazy toy accurate, you can go straight up silver with a lot of the white bits and go in and paint in other details. Maybe not even use the stickers if you wanted to just paint in all those details, because I know some of you guys out there are talented enough to do that. But for me to be able to salvage this kit when it was partially put together, and I got the thing off at eBay a while back, but to be honest, it's really not that bad of a kit. It's probably one of the better kits to go out and get, but if you really do need a Voltron in your life and you don't have a lot of room, I kind of suggest this guy. He's well worth the change. So anyhow, this has been Plasticon, and this has been yet another crazy review of awesome. and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out!